Okay. Yeah. F5. F5. Hello, guys. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Good, good. I know, obviously, there's a few of us that may not be able to hear me. But what we're going to do, we're going to start the webinar now. I know there's some of us in the chat room as well. Okay, Felicia, we've got Sherelle. Hi, Karen. Hey, Karen, how's it going?
Can you put the thing up that shows the speakers?
No, on the screen. Anyway, what we're going to do now, we're going to start now, guys. Any other problems, if you can't hear us or anything like that, try and work on the actual volume on your phone. What we're going to do basically is go ahead with the presentation because of time. Any questions at the end, please feel free to leave it in the comment section, or we'll open obviously everyone's mic and
you can ask us directly.
Ask us directly, yeah. So just making sure everyone got that. Did everyone understand that, yeah?
Yeah.
I know V's muted her thing, so I know we're communicating with her via chat.
Yeah, I can hear. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, good. Oh, perfect. Perfect.
That's one.
All right, yeah.
Okay, Karen and Sherelle, they...
Okay, let's begin. Right,
okay.
Welcome, guys. And today we are going to talk to you guys about how to actually make your brand design unique, the importance of branding, and also to help illuminate your vision in today's 2017 and beyond. So without further ado, I'll start off with a little background on all of us. As you can see, we're in a tight space here with this webcam. There's 3 of us here. You know, we're all big lads. But anyway, let's move on. How we got started. Right. So really, we started as freelancers. It was me and Sol.
Can they see that, yeah?
Can you guys see the screen, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can zoom in as well.
Yeah, if you're using your mobile phone, you can zoom in to see the actual wording as well, but I will read out a lot of the writing inside the presentation and slides, so don't worry too much about that. But yeah, we were founded in 2011 as freelancers, really. The name came about because I was basically fed up with what was going on at university, with my course, with my lectures, and you know, the whole entire setup. I mean, I believe they just kind of bred you really to work a 9 to 5 and not to actually inspire or create, you know, give you any creative platform. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to learn what I've took at university, and I'm going to just do commissions for certain people that I know. So that ranges from animation, multimedia design, video and filming, because there was a big group of us in our actual team at first. So technically New Motive was about 8 to 9 members. It was quite a lot of us, yeah. I mean, it was thinking big. But as time goes on and you tend to realize people's visions don't, you know, go the same way. So what happened is me and Sol parted off, and it wasn't anything negative. It was more of sort of an understanding where I think everyone else kind of didn't realize the actual effect it will have on their personal lives and their day-to-day. So we turned our freelance hobby into a business, which is what you're seeing right now, which is New Motive World of Creativity. We decided to start from logo and brand design because that was a common ground we were both actually doing as freelance. The team expansion happened when we went around and, like I said, met our friend Wayne Riley, which was in 2014. Now, obviously, these pictures here mean quite a lot to all 3 of us. I won't go into too much detail, but what I'll basically explain to you is that with the actual image that I'm in right now, although it's me in Morocco, one of the 2nd largest waterfalls in Africa, just wanted to say that on camera. But anyway, I had a big fear when it came to swimming. And really what it was is I was very good at swimming in primary school. You know, had a lot of lessons and everything like that as well. And then basically it got to that point where I had an incident where I almost drowned. So I was very, very frightened from that incident. this picture here was probably the first time I've actually faced that incident by jumping into the waterfall. So, and this is obviously before it, but I actually dared myself. My partner was there with me as well, and I said to her, look, I'm going to jump in this waterfall. I had enough. I'm going to face my fears. And from that, successfully, you know, I was able to face that. So, pat on my back for myself. But by doing that, it also pushed me in the business as well. And that was around about the time where we all came together and said, right, you know what? We met Wayne through a mutual friend via Soul, and he was in animation at the time, and we came together and said, right, this is our vision, which was to, which I should say still is, which is basically to help bring a creative platform into the new world via a customer-based service. So, for example, a lot of brand designers and logo design people are quite introvert. They tend to deal with you via emails and obviously, you know, online and stuff like that. We want to kind of make our world of creativity available to everyone. So whether you're doing filming, whether you're doing animation, logo design or branding, or just simply, you know, blogging on itself, we want to try and have an input in that. Hence our slogan, Ignite Your Brand. So, moving on. Sorry, 1 second. The importance of branding. Right. I'm going to read through this so I don't waste any time, just to let you guys know. Any questions, like I said before, we'll ask at the end. But basically, this image over here is what we call the iceberg, as you guys already know. There is a meme going around with one saying at the top success, and obviously what people don't see at the bottom. We decided to use that to show you what it is for a brand or a logo and what people don't see, which goes behind it. What is branding? The process involved in creating a unique name and image for a product in the consumer's mind, mainly through advertising campaigns with a consistent theme. Branding aims to establish a significant and differentiated presence in the market that attracts and retains loyal customers. So basically what they're saying to you is when you're creating your brand or creating your logo, these are the things you need to think about, which will help you achieve the significance and differentiated presence, as it says, you know, that will help attract your target audience. So for example, name is very important. That also represents who you are and what your brand stands for. Trade dress, that basically just means trademark or IP protection, so intellectual property. Trademarking your logo, copyright, such and such. We will have an in-depth section on that in our later on events to actually explain to you guys how to really get your property trademarked and protected as well in terms of your brand. Products, services, quality, culture, user experience is very important because a lot of people need to know how you are, how you function. Is your brand, is it fitting well with your target audience? Is it something that I can transfer on 10, 15 years later? Do you see where I'm coming from? Are people happy? What's the feedback? This is where your user experience comes into it, alongside customer service, position, loyalty, and definitely personality, because that's very key in making this work over here. If you're really dull and really not shy and don't want to get on camera like how I was, and you do branding like how I do and design, this ain't gonna work. Because people need to make sure and see that you, as the creative person, can be what this is, and have faith in your business. Right, representing what you stand for. Now, through this part here, I'm going to go through a slideshow of images. I do apologize if I'm speaking quite fast, but I will definitely try and answer any questions after and explain to you guys more in depth. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Now, these are two quotes from two famous entrepreneurs that I love very well. The first one I just said is Jeff Bezos, from the founder of Amazon. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Airways. Everyone obviously knows who he is. Build brands around products, but around reputation. So build brands not around only products, but around reputation as well, which is very important, and you're going to see why. I know some of you may or may not be familiar with this, but this is one of the best TV shows at the moment in terms of fantasy and epic history. It's called Game of Thrones. Now I've used this example here to show you guys what it means and how important it means to actually wear your symbol, or what symbols actually mean to you in terms of branding. These are some of the main characters in the TV show as it goes. You have Jaime Lannister on your left, Ford to your right, Jon Snow, Oberyn Martell, and Daenerys Targaryen. So what you want to do is just have a look at their uniform. Have a look at what they're wearing. See how their family house sigil matches what they're wearing. You know, you've got the dragon here. This is the three-headed dragon. Their family sigil is the dragon itself. The slogan behind it is fire and blood. Now look how that resembles on the actual dress. You can see the three-headed dragon obviously clipped onto her cape, but her actual suit looks like dragon skin. It looks reptilian, you know. So when you're in her presence, she wants you to feel the actual dragon's presence itself. Here you have the King of the North, Jon Snow, and this symbol here is very important because it's not actually what you may think it is, as a wolf or maybe a tiger or whatnot. It's actually called a dire wolf. Now these are animals that existed alongside the saber-toothed tiger, who are now extinct, but they were known very well for their large body structure and a large jawbone. They would hunt things like horses, camels, and obviously wildlife as well within that area. Here you have Jaime Lannister, same thing as well. Everywhere on his armor, it's very important you actually look at this, because everywhere on his armor you can see the lion sigil in gold. Not in black, not in red, but in gold, because they really want you to know their presence. Whether he's at war, whether he's going to a meeting, you know, their presence actually makes their actual presence makes you known that you're in the room of a Lannister. Oberyn Martell. Now this also reflects the person's character. This is House Dawn, Oberyn Martell, one of their main leaders. And you can see his actual dress has the sun tailor-made into his actual embroidered into his actual dress or gown, you know, in the same color as the sun as well. And just look at the actual design of it. You know, the yellow is not just any ordinary yellow, it's mixed in with obviously white patches and stuff like that. But I wanted you guys to understand the importance of these characters and how they wear their actual family sigil. The power behind symbolism. You guys are obviously familiar with these characters here. Well, this is actually an ancient pharaoh, King Tutankhamun. These things over here, you may or may not know, are called cartouches. Now, these represent what the actual ancient pharaohs wore on their rings, on their hands as rings, around their neck as necklaces, and also on their tombs, because basically it was their brand, it was their sigil. This actually explained their name in 4 different ways. So they had a name obviously on the crown, and a name they're obviously known to by the common people. I've actually got one myself. I do apologize, it looks like I'm swearing, but you may not be able to see it. But basically, it has my name engraved in gold on sterling silver. Basically, it says Jesse. And I actually like the whole symbolism. When I was in Egypt, the woman really sold it to me. Because obviously, I like the whole aspect of people realizing, okay, well, he's got this type of cartouche on. This is his name. This is who he is. This is how we can recognize him. So just a bit of a background description on what a cartouche is. I'm not going to go into detail with all this because obviously it's quite a lot of text. So I'm going to quickly run through it. But at times, amulets were given in the form of cartouche displaying the name of the king, as I said before, and in place tombs. Such items are often important to archaeologists for dating the tomb and its contents. The oval surrounding the name was meant to protect them from evil spirits in life and after death. So basically, this is timeless. Literally, having this up until now, this was all existing during 6,000, 10,000 BC, and up till now, we're still recognizing these people for who they are via this. You see where I'm coming from? That's how powerful and how important these guys realize symbolism and obviously branding and naming meant to them. Now, as I move on, I want you guys, probably not to answer it now, but probably later, but I want you guys to just have a look at this image and try and think about how many brands you can just see just from looking at it for the first 30 seconds. I'm going to answer the question for you. There's 24 brand ads. This is more for American statistics, obviously maybe a bit smaller or more in the UK, but the average American sees 16,000 advertisements, logos, and labels in a day. So it is a lot. And what you guys need to understand from this image alone is what brands did you see? What colors did you see? What names did you see? What stood out the most for you? Look at the different variations. I remember seeing this up until now, actually, if you go to Wardour Street or what's the name of the area? Oxford Street, I think, or Regent Street, the theatre. The Wicked.
Yeah, Wicked and Lion King, they're one of the biggest ones that you see up when it comes to theatre.
Right, yeah, they're still playing up until now, and I remember seeing that 10, 15 years ago. You know, so it's very, very important that your brand gets the same it gets the same acknowledgement, and it also gets the same message across as well. Now, I'm going to pass it on to Solomon, who's going to lead you in how to ignite your brand today, and he will basically explain that to you. So yeah, go ahead.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Great presentation by Jesse. Again, as you already know, I'm Solomon Gamma, Marketing and Branding Director for Emotive. What have you learned from the previous presentation? Symbolism and branding has existed since the beginning of time. And as generations and centuries have gone by, technology is slowly coming along and people's way of promoting their brand has changed. So the one thing that makes every successful business exist in the world today and stays on top of their business is they follow 7 important principles in terms of getting not only their logo to work, but again, the iceberg theory underneath it, everything to work with it. I'm about to unleash to you those 7 important principles. So please get your pen and paper ready, because you need to consider this when you're promoting your brand. So the first principle is this: simplicity. Make sure your logo is very simple and kept to a minimal in terms of symbolism, okay? So even if you're speaking to people and you don't have the image in your head, you must be able to jot down your logo in your head on pen and paper. It could just be a scribbly line, but that scribbly line must mean something to you. What does the lines mean? Is there a shape in there that symbolizes your past experiences? Or say, for example, again, you watched a film that you saw a magical sword and it really intrigued you. So the sword, for example, is it a long sword? Is it a sword that bends round? Keep the logo simple. And the reason I chose McDonald's is because they got a story behind their simplicity. This M is not just an average M. If you look at the first franchise building that they used to hold the McDonald's food restaurant, it was actually a building that was the same 2 egg-shaped sort of structure. So, which is why you can see in the M in between, there's a 2 egg-shaped type of M's, and it's more like a building where it was their first franchise. And look at them today. Simplicity is very, very important. That way you'll be able to communicate to your audience and make it more memorable, which I will discuss soon. So our next brand is relevance. Second most important principle to have is relevance. What do we mean by relevance? Who is your target audience? Now, depending on who your target audience is, once you find out who they are, you must also consider what type of colors do they like, or what fonts would be appropriate for them. So you would not have a baby font for a law firm, would you? So it's pretty simple. Like, again, the reason I like this brand in particular and why it works well, Huggies, nappies, is because it is catered to babies, of course, babies' nappies. And if you look at how the structure of this logo is, because it's for babies, you want to create that soft element to it. So you've got like very soft, nice corners around the edges, as well as bright colors too. So it's the white and light blue incorporated in there, because babies love bright things that attract to them. So again, if you got a law firm, don't use baby font as your logo. It just will not work. So always make sure you study who your target audience is. You get relevance. Next one, it will be memorable. Make sure your brand is memorable. What do you mean by this? Again, going back to the iceberg theory, everything you do underneath the surface, especially marketing and how consistent you are, will make your logo very memorable and stick into people's subconscious mind. Before you know it, they'll even be coming into the, yep. So, everyone still with me, yeah?
Yeah.
It's a slight technical issue, but it's fine. It's all running. So, make your logo memorable. Again, Nike is a prime example. Everywhere you go, there's Nike tracksuits, Nike trainers, everywhere, because they push their brand out there so quickly, and it's also due to how they keep their logo very simple. But again, they're consistent with it, because you see everybody wearing it. So make your brand memorable. Next one would be timeless. Now, timeless is more to do with not only their investment plays a part in it, because again, you need to think about how much is your brand really worth. So not just money-wise, but how much time are you willing to put into building that brand to make it timeless, memorable, but also not to keep doing it over and over again. And the reason I chose this brand, this beer company from Belgium, is because they existed since 1366. And you would not believe how many times they have changed their logo since it's been over 200 years now. 3 times they've changed their logo, only 3 times. So it just gets to show you must keep your message and your brand underneath the iceberg service very consistent. And again, it must infuse with the logo. Again, no one's 200 years old to carry this. No one today is 200 years old running this company. So it's about passing it on, teaching everybody else that they can see the vision of the company and therefore they'll carry it on. 3 times, that's pretty good. So make sure your logo is timeless. You invest in small amount of fees, yeah, it'll be very, very won't end well. Next principle is transferable. Now, what do you mean by transferable? If your logo is going to be printed on t-shirts just as a normal size, have you thought about what it may look like if it was on a billboard, or what it would look like on beddings, for example, or a wooden texture? Must think about all those things. How diverse is your logo? And we use Coca-Cola, for example, because you can look at it as a brand going on anything. So you've got cola bottles, you've got hats, you've got t-shirts, you've got, again, very similar to the Memorable logo. Consistent everywhere, but make sure your logo is sizable in all different shapes and make sure it's in very good quality too. You don't want no pixelated, poor brand because it will say a lot about you. So again, invest into it and do experiment where your logo can be kept. Now, color. Color is, of course, different colors have different relationships with people's moods. Yeah. So again, I like to use this brand because the Underground, because they run different franchises in London, as you already know. This is the Tube sign. You also got the Overground, which is orange and blue. And you also got the new line, which are going to be opening, called Crossrail, which is going to be the color purple ring with the blue line. Why did they choose purple? Because it's nicknamed Elizabeth Line, which purple represents royalty and loyalty, which is called Elizabeth Line. Again, you look at New Motive, the reason why we chose red in our logo is because it represents passion, drive, commitment, and holding a strong force in keeping the brand going. So don't just choose any color, consider your target audience as well as your reason for it. Last but not least, story. You must have story behind your logo. Today's day and age, that's what people follow by. They want to know what you've done, what's your next move, and how you relate to everyone. Story is very, very important. And you look at the founder of Amazon, when he first started his business, he literally had a vision when he was only selling electronics. And this is back in the late 90s. He was only selling electronics. And the one thing that stuck out with me when he absolutely nailed it, saying that he wanted his business to be bigger than the Amazon River. Bigger than the Amazon River. And that is the biggest river in the world. So you look at the logo it is today. So he went from just simply selling electronics to the logo A to Z, which means he sells nearly anything he can get his hands on. So that's why Amazon is a big brand that you see today. So again, just to close up, that's why these 7 principles are proudly used by all companies, and that's what us New Motive will infuse into designing our brands too, which is why we like to give our personal testimonies with our clients. Jamaica Valley being a great example. We've worked with her for over a year and her business has expanded dramatically. So do check her out at www.jamaicavalley.com. You can have a word with her yourself, and yeah, she'll tell you more about what we do. Nick's Nina's Solo, that's the fashion brand logo we did for a Brazilian client. He loved how we went from A to Z in terms of our storyboarding and our research. And Leisha Road Empire, baby clothing. Again, what stuck out with her is our customer service, because we like to go out of our way to keep our clients satisfied, not only just from a mental thing, but also just for the business as well. Everything has to work in conjunction. So that's about it for me. Wayne will take over now to explain how to illuminate your vision. Thank you.
Good evening, guys. I'm Wayne Riley, and I'm the creative director of New Motive, and I basically just want to go for a few slides and explain to you the idea of illuminate your vision, because that's what we do at New Motive. We like to take people's ideas and kind of expand upon it so it becomes everything that they basically dreamed of. So I've got this quote here, and it says, "It doesn't matter which side of the fence you get off on sometimes. What matters most is getting off. You cannot make progress without making decisions." Now, with a lot of people, they've made the decision that they want to get into business, but sometimes they might get lost along the way about how. But the most important thing is deciding that you actually want to go, because what happens from then forward, when you meet more people, getting involved and what have you, that helps to kind of expand your idea. You can't be on both sides of the fence, which is similar to like what we just suggested before. You've got the idea. When it comes to producing an idea, it's important that it doesn't stay as one. What that basically means is, as we suggested earlier, that when you've got the idea, don't just sit on it. I've met loads of people, they've got this great idea, but they never do anything with it. And then, you know, years later, someone else does it, or someone has something very similar. And then years later, they're scratching their head thinking, you know what, I had an idea like that, but it's too late because they didn't act upon it. The plan, this doesn't need to be extremely detailed, but just a rough outline will make your idea work. That's basically a plan in your own mind. So if you know that your business is a small business, but you know where you want it to get to, and in your mind it might take a year, then what you should do is basically have some kind of monthly plan to kind of mark your progress. If you know that what you want to do is open a storefront next year, for example, then you know you need to consider, okay, what do I need to do? That research how you know, research the rent prices of renting a unit or that kind of thing, you know, sort out how much it might cost for business rates, that kind of stuff. Just basically have your own kind of plan. It may not be the most foolproof one, but once you've got somewhere to start and you move forward, you could get other people that could give you advice. You know, you could speak to other people that maybe have done it before that could kind of tell you where you're going wrong or what you could do to kind of go on top of your plan. And then, of course, the act, just getting on with it. Now, this is one of my favorite quotes, but it's many hands make lighter work. And I put in brackets, sole trader's disease. What a lot of people do, they've got this idea and they want to do it all themselves. So they move past it and they're very motivated, they do it, but they want to do everything themselves. So for example, maybe this is a typical example, but you could have like, say, a hairdresser's or a barbershop. You know, they want to do hair, but they want to open the store. They want to be responsible for getting all the equipment in. They want to be responsible for filing all their paperwork, picking up deliveries, that kind of stuff. And when you have that, you end up having a situation where you're just overworked and you're doing everything yourself. And then that can lead to like stress, depression, missing dates, all that kind of stuff, missing birthdays, you name it. So what you should do is get more people involved, because as I suggested, many hands make lighter work. Don't suffer from sole trader's disease. Don't do everything yourself. Sharing is caring. Don't do this alone. Like I mentioned before, that's just an image of someone that's been stressed after work and everything. Those are the symptoms of someone that's doing too much. So when you're doing too much, like I said, you're actually compromising the growth of your business because you're not allowing it to grow because you're doing everything yourself. Don't be afraid to trust others with your vision. What that basically means is if you find people that you can trust, could be people that work with you, for you, what have you, people that you partner with, that could be someone else that can do something with your business, but they're specialists in it. So for example, if you've got like a website, for example, to kind of promote your business, leave that to the web designer. Let them focus on that and let them do all the stuff that they need to do to make sure that, you know, your business works well online, especially if you don't know.
Yep.
Right, so don't be afraid to trust others with your vision. And, well, the last one that just came up, no one is a phrase that my dad told me, and that is, no one is stronger than all of us. Because what happens is when you've got everyone working at their full potential as a team and they know their roles, you then have a kind of efficient machine with people actually working on it with passion because they love what they do. And then no one is able to beat that because you know what you're doing. You've got other people that know what they're doing and they're all involved in the project together and they're all committed to it. So when you've got a situation like that, you then not only enjoy your work more because you just love it, but you enjoy it because you start to see how fluent it works and how well it works and how forward it goes, because it doesn't feel like work at that point. So that's where we're going to end it. But I'm just going to pass you over to Jess now, and he's going to tell you about, you know, what you can get for the fact that you listen to this webinar. But thank you for listening, and you can take over, Jess.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, so shuffle around now. With that being said, as you can see, what we have here is the part where you take action. So everything Wayne has just said, what we tend to do, we want to work with people and we want to help people that, like you said, were on the fence, who have actually come off and want to take action now. Tell us about your vision, what you want from us, and as you've seen already, the importance of how your brand needs to be actually illustrated and put out there. We can definitely help you with that by giving you guys, for attending this webinar, which is a free gift we've been talking about, is a free branding consultation from obviously this event and our online webinars as well. In the future, there'll be other deals, but for this one particularly, you're going to get 20% off our services / packages we offer, and hopefully become a permanent partner with us and get our continued support in business. What we aim to do really, besides igniting people's brands and illuminating people's visions, we want to help expand your business as well. So it could be a thing where you are on the fence and it hurts, but when you get off, you need to know that the Emotive World Creativity is there to help you take action on what you need to do. And with that being said, it's something that we do in our consultations quite a lot. We sit down with a structured a plan. We go over everything you need to go over and find the best package that suits you as well. So we really want you guys to take advantage of that at this moment in time. If you do want to sign up for this free consultation, in the Q&A, just give me a wave or shout your name or anything like that, and I'll write it down, email you, and then we'll book a time and appointment. Good. Right. I'm going to end with one of my favorite entrepreneurs, Gary Vee. One of his most powerful quotes, as everyone knows. If you don't know who he is, Gary Vee is a guy that owns a company called VaynerMedia, but also was with a family business, which is his, called Wine Library, started Wine Library TV. And basically, what he says is, there's not a single winner on earth that took it easy. Think about that. So if it's hard and you're struggling and you can't cope, you're doing something right. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. We are going to go into the Q&A section. I know, obviously, Karen and Cheryl haven't actually come back into the group yet. Hold on, let me see.
I would have said, don't worry.
It's up there.
Yeah, because they've got the link.
Cool. All right. Felicia.
Yeah.
Any questions? Fire them away.
To be honest, it's actually everything you guys said was yeah, really good, really informative, to be honest with you. I learned a little bit more, especially about the whole logo branding, and basically just more like when you guys are talking about the 7 stages in it of logo branding. So I guess more, it's not really a question, it's more I've learned more, to be honest with you, than what I knew about certain things in business, innit? So yeah, I want to thank you guys for that, to be honest. Will we get the, you see the slideshow you've done, will you send that to our email?
Yeah.
Or something similar like that?
Definitely. So the actual entire webinar should have been recorded. It is actually. What we're going to do is, once it's finished recording, we're going to make the link available tomorrow for those who had missed it, to obviously go online. So literally just click the link, it'll be available for you to sign up on. What we tend to do, because obviously with these free webinars that we're trying to do, eventually we'll start charging in the future. But the information, we want them to be directed in a way where the content is free, but it's only available to those that were there. So although I may give you the slide, it may be better in actual recorded form, because the slideshow was actually just meant for event and webinar purposes. But if you wanted that personally, then definitely we can send that to you.
Will you do this like, as in, we would all be in a room? Would you do this like if it was like a, like a venue? Will you do something like what you just done today?
110%. We actually have confirmed the date for our event, which is the 20th of November. Promotion is going to go out for that tonight. and definitely we're going to be going more in depth as well because we'll have more time and it'll be obviously more face-to-face contact with you guys as well. On everything we just said, we're going to add more things into it as well. So what I want you guys to really do is obviously from this try and give us any feedback that you would want to include an event, because the event's obviously going to be within a month's time. So
yeah.
Is there anything you would want to be included in that event that you want us to cover, or is there stuff that you would you're happy with just knowing what you want to do and want to get more into the whole branding and starting and taking action now?
Okay, will you also do, I know you said you're doing an event, but will you also do not networking events? Will you do workshops?
100%.
Or is that something you would consider doing a workshop?
Kind of is a workshop in a way.
Yeah, definitely. What we definitely want to try and do from this is we want to make sure that we direct people in a constructive fashion. So we have the online webinars that will explain what we do and the importance of branding. Then from then, we're going to move on to the event. Now, from the event and the webinar, the next stage will be consultation. So from that on alone is where you get your personal one-to-one, because we learn with workshops, it's literally the same thing, but just actually me giving you a pen and paper.
Okay.
Now, what you can do is take notes and bring that to the consultation and then take action from what you're doing in terms of your brand. And then you won't have to even worry about a workshop because you'll be starting something already. The whole aspect of this really is to start and to show you how safe it is to start and how easy it is to start and how fun it is to start. Staying static is quite difficult, but like we said, whatever side of the fence you come down off, if you're willing to start, you land with no injuries.
Cool. What logo most attracted you? Like, you see like how you guys do logos. So what logo have you seen that you like that made you say, right, this is what I want to do?
Right.
And that goes to all of you.
Is it in terms of our actual journey? Or?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll probably answer first, and then Soul away whoever's next is will come on to. Yeah. So basically, what it would be is for me, I love the Virgin logo. I definitely like the way it's simplistic. I like the red. But for me, what resonates with the Virgin logo more is Richard Branson's attitude. Obviously, with a lot of the stuff that he's done, Virgin Media, Virgin Trains, West Coast and East Coast, and the way he is, he's very down to earth, and I think he has a lot of a personal contact with his target audience. His story is quite touching because it resonates with what we've done as well, and I think he's really out there in the field. If you ask me personally, and that's what resonated with me. So when I saw the Virgin logo and I understood raw, he's a virgin in business. This is the reason why the name is there, and the actual font itself, compared to all the other businesses like his, they're very plain and sans serif, whereas his one has a distinctive, I would say, organic flow with it. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
And personally, yeah, that's that one that stood out for me. Wayne?
For me, the Transformers and the Thundercats logo, because of the whole shiny kind of effect, the way it's eye-catching. I say the both of them because they both got different kind of fonts. Transformers is really blocky, whereas Thundercats is a lot more, I don't know, it's a lot more stylized, but kind of ancient kind of thing as well. But I like it because it kind of incorporates silver with a gradient kind of thing. So you can almost put those logos on almost any dark background. So those are the kind of logos that made me realize, you know what, logos is something I like doing, even if I do it for myself personally. But in any case, I'm just passionate about it. So I have a kind of similar style to that as well.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the 7 principles I was using, Amazon has got to be my favorite. Simply because I love the story behind it as well. Every brand in there has a story behind them anyway, but I think Amazon stood out for me because Sai's vision was very powerful, and it's all about seeing into the future where you want to take your business. And I like just even the design itself just went from A to Z. There's a lot of subliminals in logos. Obviously, when I say subliminals, it's not scary, but I do like brands that have hidden symbolism that you didn't even know about. That one symbolism, that one line, that one little tiny crucial line tells the entire story. So Amazon has got to be my number 1, and second, I love the McDonald's one too. The M represents their first franchise. So it's more of a story thing for me.
Yeah. Okay. So if there was say a brand that you could work with, like right now, who would it be? You've just explained, obviously, you know, what logos you like, but if there was a brand that you could work with, who would it be? Sorry, I've been asking too much questions. Sorry.
It's not hard. There's so many places I'd love to work. Yeah, Amazon, because I'm a favorite customer there. Again, I like to just know exactly how they all began. So I think even from my experience, Harrods, for example, I love the whole history behind it, because again, the guy that founded it, completely forgot his name, but he started off by selling tea bags. Just tea bags in central London on the near Sloane Square in a cafe shop, just teas. So yeah, places like Howard's, a massive company that has a big story behind it. Yeah, I'll definitely have to work with those people there, because I just love the whole journey, the structured introduction that they'll give. It just gives you the full understanding. Okay, cool. If you're working on their brand, it's not a joke, you know, especially when it comes to rebranding.
Okay.
BP, reason being because the way the world's going towards electric cars and stuff, they're going to be in need of rebranding. So because of that, I kind of would like to do similar work with them, where I kind of show the transition in the logo that they went from, say, fossil fuels to doing like electric cars and that kind of stuff. So I'd like to do branding for a company like that, because there's going to be a lot of companies like that working like in natural gas and whatever, and they're going to be moving over to other forms of energy. So it'll be good to kind of incorporate that journey in the logo. So that's who I'd like to work with, BP.
And there'll be plenty nectar points as well, isn't that right, Wayne?
I wasn't even thinking that, but yeah.
Jess, what about you?
For me, Rude Health. I love their branding. I love their products as well. I'm definitely a loyal fan. If you come to my house right now, you will see about 4 or 5 cartons of Rude Health inside my kitchen. But also, because I'm a vegan, not to be biased, but I think the way we ignite people's brands and the way they want to brand veganism into the future, we can definitely make a sick collaboration. Their packaging design, their actual products when it comes to the different types of nuts and almonds and, you know, milks they use. The other day I picked up tiger nut milk. A lot of people don't know what tiger nuts is, but with our branding expertise, we can obviously help illustrate that on the actual packaging itself. Yeah, Breed Health, if you're listening, I would definitely love to work with you guys. Come let us ignite your brand today. Tomorrow, evening, next week.
I don't think I should use Ignite with BP. That sounds...
Yeah, and you could get yourself with, well, yeah, and you might have been to travel with that, yeah, so, you know,
especially you.
I think with me, just to add on my answer, it's more culture as well. I like to be in a I like to work with a company where everyone near enough has their own language and everyone gets on with each other like a family. And there's so many different layers and, you know, code of conduct and just a vibrant cultural company. There's like a standard way of dealing with each other as much as dealing with the customers. I'm expecting the brand itself. So I just like the whole being a very tiny piece, but also one of the most important pieces to the puzzle.
Okay. And I know I'm asking a big question, so last one. So if you had to give one bit of advice to someone like starting their business, and this to all you, what would it be? What would your advice be? So you know what I mean?
If that's a question for all of us, I don't know. But the first thing that comes to my head is if you want to start a business, yeah, ask questions. First of all, make sure you're surrounded by the right people in terms of, do you want to do the same thing you do? Make sure you change your circle first and start on it. Do not procrastinate, because the world just keeps changing every single day. And the idea that goes through your head, someone's already doing it. Yeah. Now it's up to you if you want to keep, again, we use our term, sitting on the fence. You know, do it. But make sure you're around people
that are driving their motivation as well. So you can uplift your purpose too. 100%. You go next, Wayne, or you go next? Right, okay. There's a lot of things I would say to someone that's starting a business right now. Like on a serious, big and serious note, really understand what you're investing into. Don't start this business as a hobby, as a way to get back at people, or as a tactic just to stay on the same wave. The reason I'm saying those three things is because we've come across clients like that in recent past, and it hasn't really ended well for them. This is just due to the attitude behind it. So if you are a IT guy, but you love baking cookies, think about which one you want to start. Or try to see if you can incorporate cookies with IT in a creative way. If you can't, then pick one, because what will end up happening is that the one you're not really passionate about, it will end up just being bought out by someone else that is passionate about it and make more money for you in the future. That's it.
Mine is always have backup, whether it's backup ideas or backup content, backup work, because what can sometimes happen is if a deal goes wrong or a team goes wrong, you don't want to leave yourself destitute where there's nothing you can do afterwards if it doesn't work. I'm not saying it won't work, but things change. Like companies buy out people, companies buy companies, they remove people, they'll buy a company without intentions of keeping all the staff, and then when that happens, you're left where, what, do you see what I'm saying? So you got to have kind of like, it doesn't have to be anything major, but something that can just be started up. So if you ever do get left like that, you can just continue using the skills you've already got and kind of flourish elsewhere, because you don't want to have to start from ground zero all over again. It's like if you're part of a big IT company and then you get removed for whatever reason, you don't literally want to have to start from scratch. At least you can be like, okay, I might be going back a bit, but at least I've got something already that I've already started. That's what I would advise.
All right, cool.
That was inspired by the show called Startup.
Yeah, no, very good TV show. Very good TV show for you guys to watch. But yeah.
So.
Yeah, all right, good.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you very much, Felicia, and the rest of you guys, if you're still here or not listening, coming to this webinar. We will have it recorded and put up as soon as possible. Follow us on our Instagram and social medias, and obviously if you want to ignite your brand today, like we said before, get in touch with us. Our website, our mobile numbers are up on our website as well. Our emails are there. And just really think about, what I would like to end with is really just think about the whole actual branding process itself, and just think about your name. That's a task I'll give you guys today. Just think about your name and think about how it resonates with what you want to do. So think about your name as a person, Felicia Mason, you know, Karen, rest of those other people, and then think about what you do as a person and how you want that to resonate, and match that with your brand and your vision inside your brand. Thank you.
Okay.